just says good morning on my notes, but good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for being here, and thank you for your patience as we completed our Board of Estimates meeting this morning with Government in Action, working for the citizens of Baltimore. And before I begin today, I want to recognize our incredible and invaluable partners in this work. Joe Jones, founder and president and CEO of the Center for Urban Families and co-chair of our Guaranteed Income Steering Committee. Robert McKinnon, co-founder and CEO of the Cash Campaign of Maryland. Adam Roseman, co-founder and CEO of Steady. And we have Deputy Mayor Faith Leach. We also have our other, there you are, our other co-chair, Danielle Terrain, is with us today. Our Deputy Mayor Faith Leach and Elizabeth Tatum, Deputy Director of the Mayor's Office of Recovery Program. And you can see all of our members of our steering committee and philanthropic leaders who are here with us and have been with us over the past year in this effort. We are gathered here today to announce something that will truly make a meaningful difference in the lives of young families throughout Baltimore. Almost a year ago, I promised that I would implement a guaranteed income pilot program to support our most in-need residents in our most historically disinvested communities. COVID has made that promise all the more important. Our lower income residents, particularly young parents, have faced the worst of the pandemic and the concurrent economic fallout. Our residents need us now more than ever. And today we are following through on that commitment. You heard me tease this in the State of the City, but I'm proud to announce that the Baltimore Young Family Success Fund will open up for applications on Monday, May the 2nd. This is a $5.5 million investment into the future of our city. Starting in May, the Baltimore Young Family Success Fund will provide an unconditional, let me say that again, unconditional monthly payment of $1,000 for 24 months to 200 young parents between 18 to 24 years old with limited household income. Through the Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs, we've allocated $4.8 million in American Rescue Plan funds that will be directly distributed to select recipients. Costs for the program's administration will be funded through the Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success budget, as well as our private and philanthropic donors. I want to be very clear that this is designed to supplement rather than replace the existing social safety net. To be eligible, participants in our Guaranteed Income Pilot must be residents of Baltimore City. Say that twice. You must be a resident of Baltimore City between the ages of 18 and 24 years old at the time of application deadline. Be either the biological or adopted parents or guardians and must have full or partial caretaking responsibilities for young people and have income at 300% of federal poverty guidelines. This program will address income inequality by providing a buffer to help lower income families get back on their feet and allow them to focus on their financial well-being. These funds will help our young families do things like pay for daily necessities like food and clothing, help them meet rent and avoid eviction, secure transportation so they can obtain and keep employment, get their children to and from school, and spend more time with their children, pay for daycare for their kids, reduce existing debt burdens, and so much more. Guaranteed income programs have been proven across the world and now across the country to be a key tool for vastly improving financial and life outcomes for recipients. Studies also show that guaranteed income can reduce violent and total crime rates. Findings from SEED, the Guaranteed Income Project in Stockton, California, found that recipients found higher wage, full-time employment at twice the rate of those who were not receiving the cash payments. And in Kenya, Give Directly's Guaranteed Income Program, where they gave 75 cents per day to around 20,000 people, resulting in significant improvements in childhood nutrition. We know that hardship has been compounded by the pandemic, and this program will help combat the economic fallout from COVID-19 by assisting parents who have been the hardest hit through the pandemic. It will put them in a position to bounce back from COVID and get their lives and their children's lives back on track. To everyone who might be skeptical about how this money is going to be spent, recipients put these kinds of unconditional payments towards their most pressing financial needs. They empower our residents to make what they believe to be the best financial decisions for them and their families. During the height of the pandemic, we allocated $6 million of our COVID relief funds to distribute one-time $400 prepaid debit cards in partnership with Open Society Institute and Baltimore's Promise to 15,000 residents in Baltimore. And the vast majority of this money was put toward household essentials, food, toiletries, and housing. In comparison, the Baltimore Young Family Success Fund will be able to provide much more focused, sustainable, and impactful outcomes for residents. This is fundamentally about putting our families in a position to succeed. We are putting money directly in the hands of our residents because they know more than anyone else what their families need to ascend the ladder of opportunity, something that has been not denied to them for far too long. I want to encourage everyone who is eligible to apply. Applications will open at 6 a.m. on May the 2nd and will go through 11:59 p.m. on May the 9th. Eligible residents can visit bemorechildren.com/guaranteed-income. That's bemorechildren.com/guaranteed-income to apply or find answers to frequently asked questions about the program. I want to thank all of our partners for making this program possible. Our steering committee led by Joe Jones and Daniel Terrain, Director of Open Society Institute, and our other members, including Councilman Torrance, who have been working tirelessly over the last year to design this pilot program. Our donors, CareFirst BlueCross BlueShield, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, the Abell Foundation, the France-Merrick Foundation, the Zanvyl and Isabelle Krieger Fund. Also, I want to thank the Mayors for Guaranteed Income for providing technical assistance through the planning, preparation, and implementation of this project. We have also partnered with the nonprofit Cash Campaign to administer this program. So with tax time being over, we're going to put the Cash Campaign right back to work. The Cash Campaign will support fundraising efforts and bring a wealth of experience and benefits counseling and wraparound services that will support implementation of this program. We are partnering with the financial technology company Steady to distribute funds to our participants. We have Apt Associates, the Center for Guaranteed Income Research, and Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health faculty who will partner with the city to evaluate the impact of this project and ensure that this is being done in the most equitable and effective way possible. I would like to now turn it over to Joe Jones, founder and president and CEO of the Center for Urban Families, and like me, a Park Heights boy, a member of our steering committee, co-chairs to talk a little bit about the program and the impact it will have on our residents. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. About a year ago, the mayor brought together a cross-section of Baltimore stakeholders to share his vision for a guaranteed income pilot. I'm excited to be here with many members of the steering committee, including my co-chair, and I would say she even, exemplified the work by giving birth during this process. Mr. Mayor, I don't think she's eligible for okay, he said no, she's not eligible. But what this means for a city like Baltimore, and to the media, thank you all for showing up for something that means so much to families in Baltimore. The heart and soul of a municipality is its families. And the mayor charged us with making recommendations on the design of a guaranteed income pilot. And we selected young families, 18 to 24, inclusive of fathers. Let me say that again, inclusive of fathers. What we're going to do through this rigorously evaluated initiative is to, with parents, determine how best they can determine how to use resources that will allow them to do things that many of us take for granted, like providing childcare, like providing transportation, like making decisions about medications over food. And that is the kind of thing that we want to use the evaluation to inform what we do. I know at the Center for Urban Families, young families who are economically aspiring are looking for support and a hand up to be able to do the things that all of us do. And with that, I want to thank you all for coming out. Mr. Mayor, thank you for charging us for this important work, and I look forward to the outcomes that come from the evaluation.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you for what you do each and every day at the Center for Urban Families. As you know, one of my favorite organizations doing great work in Baltimore. We would not have been able to get this program without you and Danielle, our other co-chair, who did have a wonderful, beautiful baby girl during this process. And so we want to thank you very much. I also want to recognize our comptroller. Mr. Comptroller, you feel free to come stand with us, sir. Comptroller Henry. I know you've been sitting still for the last 3 hours. I figure you might want to get, all right, cool. But now I want to turn it over to Robin McKinney, co-founder and CEO of the Cash Campaign, to talk about the project implementation. Robin?
Good afternoon. I'm Robin McKinney. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Cash Campaign of Maryland. Cash stands for Creating Assets, Savings, and Hope, and we are so honored to be here today and to be the nonprofit administrator for the new Baltimore Young Family Success Fund. Baltimore, do we have something for you? This is an historic opportunity, and I just want to first really thank Mayor Scott for his vision and his leadership, as well as Allie Smith, who's ably led the team to go through the 626 details that it took to get this pilot together and off the ground. Income volatility is something that impacts tens of thousands of Baltimore families. Not knowing how much you're going to earn every month means you don't know which bills you need to pay. It's a constant juggling. When you're going to pay them, are you going to have enough? Who you have to give a little bit to so that you might be able to get to the next month. Having a guaranteed income of $1,000 a month, in addition to wages, creates stability, consistency, and an opportunity for Baltimore families to move beyond paycheck to paycheck. Cash has seen the impact of unrestricted funds over the last few decades through the Earned Income Tax Credit and most recently through the Advanced Child Tax Credit. If you give people money, they know how to best support their families. Families are the experts on what they need in order to get ahead. Like I said, this historic opportunity will not only allow families to get ahead, but will also give us the evidence that we need to show that policies like this are important, that families, again, are the best experts on their lives, and that we need to give them unrestricted, unconditional dollars to best meet their needs. So a few technical details that I just want to underscore. The application opens May 2nd at 6 a.m. and closes at 11:59 on May 9th. That's just 1 week that it's going to be open. This application is online only, so you can do it on a website, you could do it on a mobile phone. It could take up to an hour and a half. We are going to have application assistance sites located across the city that will be announced where people can go and get help with those applications if they're needed. We really encourage applicants to use an email address when they first fill out the survey, because we'll be able to best notify you of your status in the project, and also you're able to come back to the survey if you can't fill it out in one sitting. We also want to set expectations that people could hear. It could take up to a month for people to hear if they're in the pilot or not. These 200 families that are getting this historic $1,000 a month over 2 years are going to be selected by a randomized lottery. So this isn't apply early, apply often. This is apply once and then wait. And so please be patient with us as we work through what we imagine are going to be tens of thousands of applications. An important note for folks that are receiving different benefits like SNAP, temporary cash assistance, child care subsidies, your benefits will likely be impacted by these payments. And at Cash, we are going to be providing benefits counseling to all of the participants that come through the program to help them make a calculation about if this program is right for them. And that all happens before anyone signs on the bottom line in order to participate. So there's going to be more news to come when the application goes live, so please check back on the mayor's website as well as Cash's for updates. Thank you again to the mayor and all the partners on this project, to Joe and Danielle, who led this wonderful steering committee of folks who came across the city to talk about this, the people that participated in focus groups to really bring $1,000 a month to 200 families over 2 years that we know is going to change their lives for the better. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin, for your support on this phenomenal program and for all that the Cash Campaign does for Baltimoreans each and every day. We look forward to continuing to work with the Cash Campaign and all of our partners to truly enhance the lives of our most in need residents. And obviously, the main takeaway here is that we are putting money directly into the hands of young families across Baltimore. So I want to turn it over to Adam Roseman, co-founder and CEO of Steady, who's working with us to ensure these dollars are distributed efficiently to our program recipients. Adam also has a special message to share with us, so stay tuned. Adam?
We have the great benefit and fortune of working with the program recipients to ensure that they receive their cash in a timely fashion into the account that they choose to receive those funds from. Whether they're an individual who is fully banked, underbanked, or unbanked, ensuring that those funds are received timely is incredibly important. The most important piece of what we're so excited to be able to provide to the city is the data, the output in terms of the data that the research partners, the Center for Guaranteed Income Research and Johns Hopkins, are going to be able to take and publish research on the findings. We've had the benefit of participating in over 24 of these programs. And what we've found consistently across these programs is there is nothing more empowering than having the ability to not have to worry about how to put food on the table today, about how to pay the rent check at the end of the week, and instead focus on the bigger picture. Specifically, if you're a low-income family with childcare demands, is the instance in this particular pilot. Getting yourself in financial order to the extent that you're happy with your financial position is supported tremendously by cash. And I think you're going to see through the course of this program, what we've seen is generally not just the spend going to critical expenditures that are being unmet, but a lift in income. Right? What we've seen through prior cash grant programs over the last several years is a very material lift in income based on the fact that the individuals who are recipients have the time to think about the bigger financial picture. What can they do to improve their lives? And I think that's where the empowerment concept of this comes in. So I want to thank Mayor Scott for letting us be a part of this and for his leadership. The Deputy Mayor, the Steering Committee, Robin, and with that I have a very short message from my partner who wanted to say a few words of thank you to the City of Baltimore for what you're about to undertake.
Hi, I'm Shaquille O'Neal, one of the founders of Steady, which is connecting millions of people with better earning opportunities and safety net benefits. Steady is proud to deliver the funds to participants in Baltimore's new pilot program, the Baltimore Young Parents Success Fund. Over the next 2 years, 200 parents ages 18 to 24 will receive a no-strings-attached cash grant of $1,000 every month. Research shows that programs like these can make a huge difference in helping people get back on their feet and take control of their earning potential. We're excited to join the City of Baltimore to tackle income inequality and reverse the historic trends that have left so many people locked out of opportunity.
Thank you, Adam, and I think that Shaq, or the Diesel as my generation calls him, summed it up best. The Baltimore Young Family Success Fund will make a huge impact on our residents and helping them get back on their feet and take control of their earning potential. And with that, I want to say thank you again to all of our partners for believing and working with us through this work. And we can't wait to see what happens as we get the money in the hands of our family. And with that, we'll take questions. Everybody stand ready.
Basically, there's no stipulations with how they spend the money, but the research, can you get into the research is going to track how they spend it to see the outcomes? Can you get into that a little more?
Yes, I mean, I'll give a general. This is a part of Mayors for Guaranteed Income, which is something that's happening across the country as we're trying to show, especially at the federal level, our partners in government, what this could mean in a national level, right? And these pilots that are here, of course, most famously started by my good friend, former Mayor Tubbs in Stockton, have been proven that this helps people get along in life with the basic needs that they're met, that folks are not wasting this money as folks would think. We know we have some folks that think anytime you're giving someone need money, they're not going to spend it on what they need. But you heard from Adam and others as they've been tracking that this money has been spent on the necessity. And I'll let our other partners want to talk about, Faith, I guess you can start on how we're going to be tracking and what we're going to be doing.
Thank you. That's a really good question. So as a part of our research and working with our partners, we've actually broken the group down into 3 main buckets. And so there actually is going to be a group that will be a part of the pilot where they will be participating in surveys, and they can provide information if they want. They are not at all required to, but they could provide information about how they're going to spend the money as a part of that pilot. We also have a group that's going to be focused on narrative change. And so they'll be sharing their stories about how guaranteed income changed their lives. So it's going to be a part and embedded in the program and the process itself, and our researchers will be tracking it that way.
And my other question was, will you talk about why there is no job requirement with it and that kind of thing, no stipulations?
When you're talking about serving the people most in need in a city with the history that Baltimore has, we want to get to the people most in need. And what I would think that it would be an assumption, and a bad assumption, to think that a lot of these folks aren't working. The fact is they have to work multiple jobs because they're not being paid at the level that they should, which is a whole different conversation. But what I think you should take away, if I am a young parent and I am working a job that requires me to leave home at 5, 6 in the morning, and I don't make enough money to buy a car or to get my car fixed, what that means for me is that that's less time than I'm spending with my young people, my children. I don't have time to be with them before school or after school. They see me when I come in, I cook, I go to sleep, I go right back to work. And think about the impact that that has on the children and that family. This $1,000 can help them fill that kind of gap that will change families' lives in so many different ways. Thank you, ma'am.
Question for, I think you mentioned that the applications are solely online. What would you do if there were, for example, a resident who may not be able to access, a digital device? I think you mentioned application assistance sites. Is that kind of the purpose of that, to help them?
Yes.
Elaborate a bit more about it? Yeah.
Well, that's it. I'll let the cash campaign talk about that. That's exactly why we know the issues around that in the city, and I think they have been proven to do that with their other services, right? What they're doing with taxes. About people know the cash campaign and their services is why we chose them, because they were respected in the community throughout all different kind of communities and have a particular history of working with communities and underserved communities around financial things. And Madam CEO, if you want to elaborate on that.
So on the website, after we get through Friday, which is when everyone is being trained actually to be application assistance partner, these are folks that are actually considered part of the research, because embedded in the application is a baseline survey. So folks have to go through an ethics training, and they have to go through survey administration training in order to do it. So because it's in French, English, and Spanish, we are trying to make sure that we have good geographic coverage across the city as well as language capacity for people that, some people may just need tech help and they just need a place to go where they can get online, whereas other folks it may be a literacy barrier and they need someone to actually sit with them and go through it. So we'll have a fair number of application partners across the city, and that'll be on the website once they're ready to go.
Sure. Thank you for that. I do have a follow-up question, though. Within that short time frame of, I think, May 2nd to May 6th or something like that, what if someone has COVID or disability that makes it difficult for them to reach those sites within that time frame for whatever reason? Are there ways to help those people?
We'll always figure out ways to work around that, but I think that we would be hard-pressed to find folks that, with all the things that we're doing and assistance, that we won't be able to get to the folks that we need to get to. Yeah. I'm assuming that once this goes live on my Instagram today, that folks are going to be overbearing the website.
One additional question. How long exactly will it take for people to get the funds that they need?
You want? Yep.
So after the application closes on May 9th, it'll take about 3 weeks for the research partner to create the cohort of those 200 people in different groups. So there's a storytelling cohort, there's a treatment group that is getting the $1,000 that's also going to be doing the surveys and the qualitative research. That's 130 people. And then there's 156 people that'll be chosen in the control group. So they'll get research incentives to participate in the research, but not the funds. And then, of course, everyone else is sort of just not selected initially. So Cash will get that list after about 3 weeks, and then we will start onboarding, benefits counseling, and working through that list. We imagine that there'll be some people, for a variety of reasons, choose not to participate, and we'll be getting replacements during that process, so that we hope that another 6 to 8 weeks after that, we'll be able to have like the full cohort of 200 people. So that would mean the first payment would start like mid-July to beginning of August. So that's where we need people's patience as we work through, because we want to make sure everyone that's in fully understands what the opportunity is, and especially any impacts that it has on their benefits.
There?
Can you just talk about why you're targeting young families specifically? Why are they in need more than other people?
Well, I think when you think about young families, and if you're an 18 to 24-year-old with a child in our city, and when you think about the neighborhoods where we see a lot of that, you're talking about our disinvested neighborhoods, you're talking about our red line neighborhoods, you're talking about our neighborhoods that have the most crime, you're talking about our neighborhoods that have the most trash, where our young people need more assistance in school. So an investment in those families, or an investment in those young people in those communities to directly deal with all the issues that they're facing, right? You heard it earlier today. When people have this, you can see that this will impact so many other things in our society. So when you're talking about the ability to invest in any group, an investment into young families in need is something that you can't find a better group to do it.
You think it's going to have the greatest impact?
I do. I know what it meant for me to be able to spend time and have my parents with me during that time frame, right? When I was a young child, when they were young parents in the city of Baltimore. So to be able to invest in families like that, it will have a deep, deep impact. Alexa?
I have an unrelated question. I'm looking to confirm BPD's Director of Fiscal Services has been terminated, why he was terminated, if he's accused also of a crime, if he's been arrested, what that charge was.
Yep, I'll let the commissioner address that. Mr. Commissioner? Alexa, I thought you were going to ask me about guaranteed income. I was hopeful.
She said that's the next one.
No. Come on, sir.
Thank you. We can confirm that this person who was chosen and hired by the Baltimore Police Department has been terminated as of, actually, technically yesterday, was interviewed today, and is a person of interest in a homicide investigation.
Which homicide investigation?
Well, it's an ongoing investigation, but is a person of interest. It's not a suspect and did not have a warrant for his arrest, but was a person of interest and has been terminated by the Baltimore Police Department.
I did notice that same name is on Baltimore City's gun offender registry as of 2019. Any details on that or how that was missed in the background check?
We are working to ascertain the answers to those questions ourselves, but to my knowledge, as I've been briefed, I believe he has been arrested based on being on the gun offender registry, but has been terminated by the Baltimore Police Department.
I'm sorry, can you clarify that?
I think, as I've been briefed, he's either was arrested or is in the process being on the gun offender registry, but has also been terminated by the Baltimore Police Department.
Right, so he was placed on the gun offender registry in 2019, but hired as the Director of Fiscal Services after that. So my question is, how was that missed?
Well, once again, we're working to ascertain the answers to those very questions. There was a background investigation done, and the HR department did a background investigation. It was missed. We're correcting that as we speak, and that has been corrected.
And the homicide is unrelated to that, that's something else?
Something else. Yes.
I had another question for the mayor, if that's all right. just overall with the violence. I know you were asked yesterday about the 100th homicide. We've had 2 more since then. We were looking at the numbers, and this is the fastest the city has gone to a 100 homicides so far this year within the past several years. I'm being direct, but do you take responsibility for that?
Of course, everybody in Baltimore has to take responsibility. You have to take responsibility. Your station has to take responsibility. Every church, every parent, everybody that lives in the city has to take responsibility, because it's not a one-person thing. Now, it's hard to think about taking responsibility for someone else's actions, but when you look at the people in Baltimore, as I do, is that we're all interconnected and really a family. You have to do that, and we have to all be better. But for me, Alexa, as I said yesterday, whether it's 1 or 100, it's far too many. And what we're going to continue to do is focus on the immediate and the long term of things that we can do that will prevent and reduce homicides in the city of Baltimore, ultimately understanding that we know people make bad decisions. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Oh, sorry, ma'am. I didn't see you back there.
Hi. Just going back to the program, if their financial situation changes within the 24 months and they fall above poverty, will they still continue to receive this $1,000?
Yep, that's a question I will kick over, but I believe the answer is yes. It's where you are when we start the program.
And is this, can 2 people in the same household receive it?
Technically.
Technically, I think it would be very rare.
Yeah, technically,
Given a
however,
lottery.
extremely unlikely in a lottery. Unless somebody, if they get this, I'm going to ask them to play the Mega Millions for me.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, just
One more?
one question.
Yep, you're fine.
Not related to this, unfortunately, but I just wanted to get your opinion on something, Mr. Mayor. County Executive Oshesky says that he's talked to you about the county and the city co-running the wastewater treatment system, and a consultant's report has released, that was released last year, also recommends that that happens. Considering the problems at the Back River Treatment Plant, which is obviously in the county, is it time now to consider a city and county governing arrangement in your view?
For me, what we're considering is how we can improve the system and how the city of Baltimore can continue to improve the system, working with our regional partners and the county executive, who actually was in the city last night for me with an event. We're going to always work to improve what we have. We know that this is a big asset for the citizens of Baltimore, and that's the way we're going to focus on it as we continue to work with our partners in the county and our other customers around water and all water wastewater matters. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.